Welcome back my super engineers, and now we are going to see that what are the basic computer operations. So what are the meaning of this? What is actually the meaning of the basic computer operation? Basic computer means the simple computer, right? What are the operations? Operations can be anything. It can be arithmetic, it can be control, it can be networking. It's the wrapping up of the all kind of the physical hardware along the software that perform certain action, and that particular action or logical term that it process is called the operation. So the type of the operations we are going to talk about is here. We are going to talk about the booting, file management, software installation, and data backup. Let's get into that one after another. So let's first see what is the meaning of the booting. So the booting, B-O-O-T-I-N-G, booting. So what is the booting? That's an interesting question, because booting sometimes reboots us. You must have heard these words, booting or reboot or troubleshoot and these kind of things. It is the process of starting a computer. We can call it as a process that starts a computer, starts a computer. And what else it can do? It is a process of starting a computer, but what it actually do is actually it resets it. It starts from the way up. The operating system gets loaded in RAM, and once it is loaded, the computer application are ready to use. That's the important thing. Computer application, only we can use the computer application when once we bridge the gap, and this gap is operating system. This is getting loaded in the RAM. This is our hardware, as we have discussed many times, and this is going to be our application software. So we have to bridge the gap in that. You can imagine it like this, like my engineer mind asked me, okay, you told me about the booting, but what it actually signify in the real world? If I imagine I am the machine, well, I said it's very simple. Imagine that what happens in the morning when you wake up. When you wake up, if you are waking up, it definitely means you slept, and when you slept, you might have dream and all that kind of things. But when you wake up, what actually happened? Your operating system loads up. Okay, let me simplify that for you. Here I meant with, when we wake up, we look in our surrounding. That's mostly familiar, and we recognize who we are, what we are doing. It's very quick, but it takes a moment from that subconscious mind to conscious mind to consciously awake. It takes a moment. That moment can be very small or a little bit big in some times or some days, but it is a process. And what the operating system I meant with all the kind of the memory, action, and everything that you are calling yourself, that is the operating system gets loaded up. So what happens when anyone gets in the coma? Their operating system is not getting loaded up in their main memory or their consciousness, so they are not conscious. That's why they are called unconscious or coma, in which their mind is active, the computer is active, the hardware is active, but the application software, the consciousness, is not there. Now I think you completely understood that what it means. You can actually go for booting or rebooting mode, and you actually do that every single time you go to sleep and wake up. That's what a machine also do. And the RAM sleep, sometimes called as RAM, R-E-M, RAM sleep, is very important for us as a human being and for the machine also. it enhances the memory, it settles down the electrons which is spread everywhere in the circuit and the current. It can relax a machine, it can relax you. You can take a quick nap. In the common language we call it a nap. Like when you study something very heavy, just go for 5, 10, 15 or 20 minutes nap. Well, sometimes so many people sleep for hours in that nap, and that will no longer be called as nap. The nap is the nap. It means a very short sleep. That is the REM sleep. You allow yourself whatever you have learned to go and settle down in your permanent memory from your conscious space to the subconscious space, and building a strong connection. When you wake up, you are fresh, you are alive. How you can do that? Well, let me tell you. We are studying the engineering, so you must learn this art. One way or the other, I believe every engineer on this planet who calls them the engineer, the true engineers, actually live this at least once or few times in their life. And the best ones are using it every single week and sometimes every single day when they are working on something, a very special kind of thing. You are thinking, you just felt asleep, or you consciously fell asleep. It means you are not thinking anymore. You just let your mind work, but you are not consciously forcing yourself to think. Your mind is working, still working on that particular problem or the aspect of the thing, and you fell asleep. Your eyes are closed, mostly it's closed, and you are just focusing a breath sometimes, and sometimes even not that one. You fell unconscious and you just wake up in a couple of minutes and the problem gets solved. You can try that out. It works. It is very powerful thing. So that's how you can store so much of the data in less time in your mind, and you can learn tremendous amount of the information in very less time. I use 21 minutes personally because for me 5 and 10 minutes are a little less for me, and 1 or 2 hours will go very much more for me. So I choose 21 minutes. Why this number? Well, there's no special reason for that. You can choose any number which is comfortable to you. I just fell asleep, wake up, and it's fresh. I know the things. I can restart, I can reboot. Okay, so we have learned what is booting in the machine and the booting on the mind itself. Okay, let's go to the file management section now. So what is file management? File management is one of the important aspects for any machine or the organization, and sometimes in the academia also. Actually all the time in the academia also. Because the file means a place where you can keep the data. You can edit the data, you can write the data, you can read the data, you can change the data, you can delete the data, and you are maintaining its file. Means the collection of the information you are keeping, and sometimes the raw data that you are keeping in a certain way, certain organized way, and managing that thing is called as file management. So I told you the physical aspect. Now let's see the computer aspect or the machine aspect of it. It's the process of organizing. So it's organizing and controlling. You have the control over it, files, and where the files are, they are in a device. Actually not just in device, it's in device memory. The file is in device memory or in the cloud. Well, these days the clouds are important, so let's say it's in the cloud. Cloud means a server where you can store the data by running out their space after a free trial, of course, so that they can easily be found and retrieved. If it is not easily be found, the file is mismanaged. Like, have you ever seen, just imagine, now it's the imagination time. So let's get to the imagination time, my dear friend. Well, this time I made the nose not to represent the idea of that thing. Okay, it's the imagination time. Well, the imagination got wild, right? let's make it like thunderstorm, thunder imagination this is. So have you ever seen a librarian, a true good and experienced librarian, ever get confused in the sections where the books are kept? Well, I have never seen in my life a librarian getting confused in a section of the stacks of the book. Why it is so? Because they know where is the section of that particular subject or particular topic. It is organized in a well determined manner. It can be alphabetic, it can be numbers, it can be so many things. It's a completely graduation in its own self. That is called as graduation in library sciences, I think, in most of the countries. So you can do that graduation just to learn to manage the books. It is so organized that thousands and thousands of books are organized in well suited manner that when you ask the librarian or your computer system, in this case, it gives you the right data at the right time in the cheapest possible way. Well, with the cheapest I mean here with the time. You can get it in very less time. As much time it requires to walk you through, that's it. That's all. So what you can do with the file, we have discussed: read, write, read and write both, manage, delete, or create something new. These are the basic operations you can do with the file, and how you manage it, it actually depends upon the operating system and sometime on our skills. So if you ever make a software, like if you are ever trying to building a operating system, you have to learn how to make the file management correct. If you are not working on the file management correctly, actually it's just a waste of time when we are trying to retrieve the data. Okay, and if it is well managed, it is easy to get the data. It becomes organized. So the important word for all these is to organize. Well, sometimes I question myself that why there are so many engineers who go for the MBA, or at least most of the engineers, especially in the computer science, have already the skills of management, because it's inbuilt. Either you are managing a system, a file, or the people. Well, people management is, I think, one of the most difficult tasks, but still you know the science of the management just because you know the computer science. And the computer science is actually one way or the other is coming from the human mind, and that they can best incorporate with the machine in the tune up with that. So that's why they are good in the management. So now my super engineer is also a good manager, right? Okay, so now we are working on software installation.